Welcome to the first edition of the Royal Insider, the official podcast of the Johnson Royals. We are excited that you're here and can't wait to get going. My name is Brandon Perry. I am your host, but also the athletic director here at Johnson. With us today, I have a few people helping me out kind of behind the scenes. Addison Lafayette, who is our sports information director, just started recently, right, Addison?
Yep, about 2 weeks ago.
About 2 weeks ago. So she's getting off the ground and started, and we hit the ground running trying to do our first ever podcast with her. Also with her is our athletic engagement, game day engagement coordinator, Logan Galbraith, and Logan is running audio. He does not have a mic, but just trust me, he's over there. Eventually, we're gonna get this thing set up right. We'll have cameras that face away, so we'll be able to interact with those guys while they are producing this podcast. But for today, this is what we got, right, Addison?
Yep.
Yeah. So, Addison, you come to us just graduated from Tennessee, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then a stint with Omaha Production.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was that like?
It was actually really cool. I was a social media intern for them for a little bit, where I got to work on the Manning cast every Monday night.
Yeah,
so a lot of fun, a lot of high intensity moments, but it was definitely worth it. I learned a lot.
The Manning cast, obviously Peyton Manning,
yes,
which is a big deal here in Knoxville. So did you get to talk to Peyton?
Yeah, a few times. Got a few photos with him, so that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. So, Addison's role is really about trying to help us get our name out. You know, this podcast, several things. If you've been around Johnson at all, you know that we have been using this tagline of "Raise the Roar." It's really become more of a marketing campaign. At least that's what we hope it's about to be, and that's really like the purpose of this. When we started thinking through like what a sports information director would be, and NAI, they tend to be like the Swiss Army knife. They do a little bit of everything, right? They are definitely the outward facing image of the athletic program, but also they are taking care of game day management, stats. We had a good SID before with Evan Reed, who left us a few years ago. But as we went to replace that role, we try to just really committed to like doing this differently. So Addison is kind of more of our outward. She's doing a lot of our social media stuff. She's engaging with our media outlets, things along those lines. And then Logan is more game day management. So he'll handle more the actual operation of game days. So I think the two of them together are going to do some really good things. Addison, tell us about what are you most excited about as far as working here?
I'm really just excited. We have such a great team here.
Yeah.
Everyone gets along really well, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for growth in this program. And I think that with everyone here working together, all of our ideas put together, I think that we can do some really cool things. So I'm just excited to see what those things are and how we can accomplish those over the next year.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Addison really touched on the thing that we've been saying for a long time, that Johnson Athletics is a bit of a sleeping giant in a lot of ways, or at least we think so. We think that there is so much potential here. We really believe that we have something special. And that's a big reason that we're doing this podcast. It really starts with our mission, which is this concept, this idea that we believe that sport, especially at the college level, is really a vehicle for development. Right? Its whole purpose, its reason for existing has nothing to do with wins and losses. Not really. Yeah, it's more about how do we elevate these students that we get to interact with? How do we help them to develop into better people, more committed to their community, more devoted to Christ? Like how do we do those things? And for us, we use sport as that place, as that. It's something that for a lot of athletes, that's their identity, right? They're tied into it. Well, if we can meet them where they are, with something that is so important to them, then all of a sudden we speak into that environment, I feel like we have a real chance at being able to develop any athlete that comes through here. So we believe that we have this really bright future. And the Royal Insider is all about trying to tell that story. And that's the reason that we're starting it. We just want to tell the story of our past, because we've had some really good athletes come through over the years. We want to tell the story of our future because, again, we think that it is bright. We hope that recruits watch this and it is a draw to help them to decide that maybe Johnson University is a great place for them to be. But most importantly, we want to tell the story of now. We have really good kids. I mean, we just do. We have really great kids. Addison, you've not met any of them yet, but you're going to find, we've got great kids here. And what we really want to do is to be able to, tell some of that story, some of that narrative. There's no reason for this to be something that we are hiding. Our president, former president, Dr. Tommy Smith, he was the one who hired me as the athletic director, and he would say, people would tell us all the time that Johnson is the best kept secret in Knoxville, and it would drive Dr. Smith crazy. He hated that line, and he just felt like, man, we can't be this secret anymore. We have to be something bigger, something more. So what this podcast, what the Royal Insider, we hope is going to be able to accomplish is telling some of those stories. And helping you to get to know us, especially those of you out here who may be alum of Johnson. Maybe you don't understand what's going on in athletics or how it's different. Maybe you don't know how many of our student athletes are doing great things in the world. We want to tell you. We want to be able to make sure we get that out there so that this isn't a secret any longer. So each week, what we will be doing is we will tell you, this is what's going on in Johnson athletics. These are the things that are happening here, the stories that need to be told. We'll also let you meet our coaches and some of our players, let you understand what our program is doing and where it is. We'll step into some of our history and talk to former players from time to time, and get some of their backstories and things along those lines. And then, also in some weeks, we may sit down with people that helped shaped me specifically or our program in different ways, and hear from some of the people who really gave shape to what Johnson Athletics is from a philosophical standpoint. And then hopefully we're going to have fun as we do this. So let's first just get into our first segment and let me tell you what's happening with the Royals this week. We'll be right back to talk about that. We're back, and we want to focus on what's happening right now this week with the Royals. So obviously it is summer, and there isn't a whole lot going on, at least not in the scheme of games, right? Like, we don't have a lot of games happening, so there's not a whole lot to report on that side. But there are things going on in Johnson Athletics that I think we need to talk about for sure. So first and foremost, the Royals have been recruiting, and we have been recruiting a lot. Over the last few years, what we have seen is some tremendous growth. So I became the athletic director in 2018. That year was a record year as far as athletic size. We had 131 athletes, 45 new recruits, and periodically over the next few years, we started seeing tremendous growth, and it just kept increasing year to year. We topped out our largest year as far as new student athletes was 2022, where we had 104 new student athletes come onto campus that year, 209 total student athletes. And then the next 2 years were number 2, number 3, as far as like the biggest classes we had. And then this year is shaping up to be a great year in recruiting, and it appears that we are going to set another record. So right now our projection It is 112 new student athletes with an athletic department of 266 athletes, which is super exciting. And we are so excited about that. Part of that is that we started a new program last year. It's actually a bringing back of a former program in men's golf. We hired Coach Chase DeVault. Chase has done a great job over the last year, but anytime you start a new program, the first year is really hard. Year two, he's done a tremendous job, has a full roster, and we really think that they're going to take huge steps this year as far as how they are competing. But also, we are launching, bringing back men's and women's cross country, which is going to be a great thing as well. We have a new coach there, and Coach Brody Blaylock, and Coach Blaylock is doing. He's on the recruiting trails. Probably again going to be another year. It's going to take a year to build this thing, to get it to where it needs to be. But we think that it's going to take off after that. And we have a couple more announcements. There's definitely more sports being introduced into Johnson Athletics. I'm going to hold off on those. One thing that we know that is coming up that is going to be a big deal, Addison, I believe, is going to probably get a social media post out either tonight or tomorrow dealing with, we're going to have our first annual golf tournament fundraiser. So our home course is Ruggles Ferry, which is about 45 minutes from here. And we're on August 18th. We're going to take that day. We're going to bring athletes out, and we're going to play golf together. We're looking for teams right now. So you should see information coming out in the next day or two about this tournament. You'll be able to sign up. It's $400 for a team. And then we're looking for sponsors. If that's something you're interested in, any of our sponsors who sign up gets a team that they can enter in as part of that package. So we're really excited about the golf tournament. We think it's going to be a great thing. We hope that the future of this tournament is that it's going to be a huge fundraiser for our entire program. All college programs, really, resources are the thing that it needs, and we are no different from that. So those are the things that are happening this week in Johnson Athletics. We will be right back with our head softball coach, assistant AD, Dayna Carter. Welcome back to the Royal Insider. We are here with our very first guest, Dayna Carter, our assistant athletic director and softball coach. Dayna, how does it feel to be on the very first podcast for the Johnson Royals?
Well, it's really exciting, but it's also super nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it is kind of weird to have the camera this close to you and people hearing you and all those good things.
Yes.
But, well, for those who don't know your full story, share some of your background. I mean, really, when you sit and look at your resume, it's extremely impressive. And I don't know that people here have heard that story. So tell us a little bit about, let's start with your playing days.
Yeah. So I'm from California.
Yep.
Played high school in California. And then I actually went to a junior college, Sacramento City College. I was an All-American there, had 2 great seasons, but one of the great things about it was I had an unbelievable pitching coach there that just took me to the next level. So from there, I got a full ride scholarship to University of Oklahoma. So I played there for 2 years. And then after that, I went on to become one of the first coaches for the Lady Vols softball program as an assistant coach under Jim Badia from 1995 to 2001.
Wow.
So those are my playing days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's the University of Oklahoma, right?
Yes.
Like
Boomer Sooner.
When it comes to softball, like that is the place, right?
It is.
Which is pretty impressive. So, what was it like playing there?
It was probably 2 of the best years of my life. Just the overall atmosphere, being from California, the professional sports are a lot bigger than the college sports. So when I went to a Oklahoma football game, it was just the biggest wow moment I've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
And I just fell in love with, big time college football and the big time college sports atmosphere. And what better way to keep it continuing than to come over to the University of Tennessee amongst the volunteers. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's incredible. Now, you went from Tennessee and you started coaching high school.
I did.
Right? Of which it's been a while since I read your resume, so I make sure I get this right.
Been here 4 years.
2 state championships?
3.
3 state championships. I was close.
Yeah.
So 3 state championships, coaching at the high school level. What made you kind of jump into that? It's
a great question.
Level?
So while I was coaching at the University of Tennessee, I met my husband, who is from Seymour, Tennessee. I always say if someone would have told me in high school that I would be married in 10 years to a guy from Tennessee, I would have said they were crazy, but here I am. So I met my husband. We were pregnant with our second child, Taylor, at the time when Jim left and went to Arizona State. I had the option to go with different people. I had other options in the SEC. But I also knew as a mom in that world that it's brutal as far as the recruiting process goes. And Pat Summit was coaching there at the time. And I remember going and talking to her and Al Brown, which was one of her assistants that I was very close to. And Pat said in her most Pat voice ever, "Dayna, you've been a coach here for how long?" I said, 6 years. She said, "Well, the average lifespan is 5 to 7 years. And if you want to pick up your kids and keep moving around, then do it. But if you don't, then you've answered your question." And that time I decided that I wanted to be a present mom. So I ended up staying here in Knoxville. And then I had some high schools call. And I was like, ooh, I don't know about that. But I ended up doing it for many, many years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. A lot of people don't recognize that. I think when they see college athletics on TV, they think, oh, it's glamorous. It's I don't know, but they don't recognize what the coaches go through.
Yeah.
The schedule, especially the D1 level, is just brutal.
It's brutal. The recruiting trail is even more brutal because you're dropping, the summer, you're dropping your child off on Thursday and picking them up Sunday. So it was tough.
And not easy here either.
No.
I mean, by any stretch of the imagination. But
Nope.
but I think at the D1 level, it's just a different animal, to say the least. So obviously, you fast forward. You coached high school several years, and then one day we call.
Mm-hmm. This is a funny story because I remember it was the year my husband and I both turned 50. And we were sitting there talking at dinner one night, and he said, "You're wasting your talents in high school." And I said, "I don't know where to start. Like, I don't even know where to go. I don't want to leave Knoxville. We love Knoxville." And that same week you called me.
Yeah.
And when I tell people it was God's timing, it truly was God's timing because my kids were grown. 2 of them were in college playing sports, 1 here, baseball.
Right.
So to me, it just couldn't have been any more evident that it was God's timing for me to come.
Yeah. By the way, for those who are watching, that was the 3rd time I had actually called. And my predecessor, Ken Underwood, had called once before.
Yeah, it was God's timing.
So
really.
Absolutely, it was different.
It was.
Obviously, we had made a big transition at that point, and the position opened up differently. And for those who don't know, all of our coaches were part-time forever, and we have been slowly building that. Dayna was one of the first full-time head coaches at that point. And for a minute, it was just me and her as full-time head coaches and living that life. So, well, I want to transition that a little bit. What do you love? I mean, you've been now coaching for 4 years here at Johnson. What do you like? What do you love about coaching at the college level?
So I would say coaching at the NAIA college level because I really get to invest in these girls as people. I think at the other levels, the higher levels, sometimes you get lost amongst the rest of the team and maybe even just a number amongst the university. But I feel like everything here can just be more personal and I can really dive into these girls' lives faith-wise, spiritual growth, how they're going to, what they're going to be when they get older. We had 2 girls get baptized this year, Yeah. I mean, to me, that's what it's all about. I just feel like it just gives me such an opportunity to dive into these girls as people.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And that is what we're about. We said it at the beginning of this episode that our mission is about development, right? We believe that athletics is this vehicle for overall development and overall growth, above all things.
Yeah.
We believe that. And there is something, I mean, you could probably speak to this, and I get excited about it, so I'll probably talk too much about this, but there is something amazing watching a kid develop.
100%.
And change.
Yes. In fact, when I took this position, I took over a team that had only won 1 game in 2 years. Mm-hmm. But what we quickly realized as a coaching staff, it wasn't that these girls were not talented. It was they weren't being developed prior to. So I think that that's really where we were able to dive in and start with, the softball development and then move into the other parts of their development as a woman, as, a spiritual leader. So that was big.
Which is crucial. I mean, again, for those who don't know, it's easy to, when you hear Johnson, the people who know Johnson Bible College history, know about our Christian university heritage, it would be easy to hear that and say, oh, well, they care about sport, right? I mean, it is so much. But the reason we do it in that kind of direction, and Dayna did such a fabulous job, like the students who come to us won't listen until you prove you know what you're talking about. And you prove, I mean, the thing that they are most passionate about, the thing that they care about is their sport, right? Until you can show that you can win, that you can help them get better. Like, they just don't hear you.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think that's so interesting. So tell us a little bit about your vision. I mean, you started into that with that, but like you got here 4 years ago.
Yeah.
What was your vision for this program?
So I think, at first, knowing what I was coming into and starting with that group and really trying to develop them, the vision was to grow this program into a national contender. We wanted to, we were, with my staff, we came up with a 5-year timeline of kind of like, okay, this is where we want to be. We've gotten there a little sooner than I expected, and that's great. But, I mean, we made the postseason, I should say, the first round of nationals for the first time ever. And I expect a different outcome from that next year. And I think the girls will too, based on that. So, my overall vision is family and, being a national contender and, having a great team that, does well in the community and has good grades. So it's kind of a broad vision. Right.
Well, you touched on last season, and obviously we're doing this first couple of weeks talking about the teams who qualify for those opening rounds of the national tournament. It was a banner year for us in 2024. Yeah. 4 teams qualify for the first time in their program's history for the NAIA national tournament, which is a huge, huge deal for us. And we're excited about it. So let's talk about this run that you guys made to our first AAC tournament conference championship, right? And what that was like. I don't really even know what the question is to start with.
Yeah.
Tell me like what was that like going from one win when you first got here to now sitting here in your conference champ?
Yeah, so surreal. Like I remember Logan asking me this right after the conference tournament championship, and I just thought, wow, I don't have words for it. I know that at one point in the season, we were sitting in the 1 spot for a long time, and then we kind of fell off. We had some injuries that led to a, kind of a slower last few weeks of season. But we've taken on the mentality of a neutral mindset rather than being positive, because positivity can lead to negativity. We really changed the mindset of the girls and how we look at everything. So when we did have that little skid those last 2 weeks, it was kind of like, okay, now here's where we're at, here's where we want to get, and here's how we need to do it. So I think just taking that vision of saying, okay, feet are where we are, let's do this. This is how it's got to be done, and this is what we want to do, and this is the outcome we want to have. So I think it just calms everybody a little bit to say and stay on task. So.
Yeah. No, I think that's huge. That was something in my 8 years coaching here. We started changing. It was like, how do we just be neutral? Not high, not low. Let's just be here. It's business, right? Especially in a sport like softball. I mean, you're playing 50 regular season games in a very condensed amount of time.
Yes.
Like, those highs and lows can be killer.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's easy to, I think in the past, when I first came on, it was positive mindset. And one of my players that I played with at Oklahoma, her name's Lonnie Alameda. She's the head coach at Florida State. I was talking to her one day, and she talked about the book called It Takes What It Takes, which is a sports psychologist who works with many NFL quarterbacks and major league players. And it really talks about how if you just stay positive mindset all the time, it's so easy to fall negatively. So we really wanted to focus on that neutral mindset and keeping everybody calm and understanding what we want to do and preparation and execution. So that's really kind of where we got the whole neutral mindset from.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. It's beautiful. We would talk about it with ours. Like, we just want to have just turn up think of it like a dial.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we just want to make one click right every day. And that's it. Just get a little bit better. But what a lot of people do is they go, I want to go up here. I think this is our potential, instead of just processing and taking their time. I think that's a beautiful thing. So with that, let's transition a little bit. Here we talked about last season some. Well, let me ask this question before we transition, actually. What was that like to get to that winning moment for you? Can you, I was obviously there and getting to experience it with you, but a lot of people weren't.
Yeah.
And
I cried. And I cried because it was one of those goals that you have and you just want to get there so bad.
Yeah.
And then it happens, and like every emotion comes out of you, know, and I remember, hugging all the girls and hugging you and then hugging my family. And it was just, it took all of that to get to where we were. I'm a big family person. So everybody was included in that moment. It was amazing.
Sport's amazing because of the highs and lows.
Yeah.
It really is. And unfortunately, we hold on to the lows probably the most.
Yeah.
I tell this story a lot of one of our first national tournaments when we were in CCAA, driving home, and it was a 3-hour drive, and I sobbed the entire 3 hours. All the guys were asleep, but it was just the idea that I was not Coach Perry for some of those guys that it just killed me.
Yeah.
And it's also a game still to this day. That was 2018, and I still have not watched it back because it was brutal. It was a brutal game.
Yeah.
So, but
I've watched our clip of the last out so many times, or I should say the last run, because we walked it off so many times, and it just makes me tear up every time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful thing. And again, it's because of the emotions. It's all the little things that go into it, right? That people just
collectively
don't see. It's the the Chick-fil-A runs.
Yes.
And the all of those
who's going to drive run.
Yeah, it's all
everything.
That. Yeah, it just kind of builds up.
Yes.
Well, tell us a little bit about your coaching style.
Yeah. So, there are several things. When I was coaching at Tennessee, I was young. I was 23, 24 when I started. I dove into the mental game big time with the sports psychologist there, Joe. And a couple of things that I really learned that shaped the way that I coach now, and I think the way that I did things actually made me a better coach. Number one, I don't talk negatively to any of the girls. They will never hear negative words come out of my mouth. Everything is uplifting, positive. I just don't want to put negative thoughts in their head. Number two, I won't treat everybody the same. I hear coaches say that all the time, and it drives me nuts. I treat everybody the same. You can't treat everybody the same. They don't respond the same. They don't react the same. So it is up to us to invest in these girls and find out what gets them going, what gets them fired up, because I need to get the best out of them. And then the other thing is just investing in them as people and not as a number. So that is one thing that I really work with my staff on, everybody inclusively working together with our team. Because if you have one staff member who's, negative or, not doing the things that you expect, it can go a really bad way, and you just don't want that. So, so those are big things. The other thing is we're very organized as a staff. We want to make sure everybody is aware of the plan. The plan has been communicated to execute the plan. We are very high energy, fast paced practices. So everything is like very upbeat. That's how we want to keep it, because we want them to have fun. If they're not having fun, they're not going to be here.
What's the point?
So yeah.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm going to add one to it. This is just my observation. Seeing you coach from a distance is, I don't know that I've been around many coaches who have loved their players more than you, and it's pretty obvious just watching that one on the field. But I see it every day in the office, which is so funny. All the commuter players who are like hanging out in our office every day, just wanting to spend time with each other, but also with you. That's a big, big testament, I think, to the program that you're running, which is pretty impressive. How do you go about, let me ask this question. How do you and your staff kind of go about recruiting with Johnson?
So I'm fortunate in the fact that I have like kind of a little recruiting team that does some stuff. They don't do any on-field coaching. They leave that to us. So they kind of go out there and find the kids, and then we kind of come in at the end and watch them. But we also want to look at more things. We want to see what kind of teammate they are, how they treat their parents, how they talk when they get taken out of a pressure situation, how they come back from a pressure situation. So those are really things that we look at as far as softball goes. But then we also want to dive into the kid. We want to ask them personal questions to see what kind of teammate they're going to be. Because if you're not going to be a good teammate, you're probably not going to fit into our culture.
Yeah. Are there things, again, might be recruits watching this, I have no idea, but are there things that are like a turnoff for you that just says, nope, I'm walking away?
Yeah. I would say somebody disrespecting a teammate, a coach, a parent, that's a definite, absolute no. Yeah. I will not tolerate it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would go to basketball games, and I've walked out of many warm-ups, like before the game even starts, because I just saw how they were interacting before the game. Yeah. Right? I thought that was a big deal.
The other thing for me is laziness.
Yeah.
Somebody walking on the field, that drives me absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Those are two big turnoffs.
You got to play the game, right? Yes. Yeah. I think that
as if nobody's watching, like,
Yeah.
How would you do it?
Those were a big thing for me too. And I think, I always wanted someone who was honest with me. I was a straight shooter in recruiting. I mean, I think you do that too, very, very much so. And, but so often, like, people just make up things.
Yes.
It's pretty shocking.
It's funny, some of the things that you hear.
Yeah, it is. So typically, if I felt like this doesn't smell right, like, I'm walking away.
Exactly.
So, well, do you have any like game day routines or superstitions, things that are like just for you and your team?
Yeah, that's funny because I visited my son this weekend who's coaching in the Coastal Plains League. And my husband said, you and Ty have got to be two of the most superstitious people I've ever met. So I'm going to tell a funny story. This goes back to my high school coaching days. This will just give you an example of how superstitious I am. We go to the state tournament. I have these same socks, and it got to the point they were not washed. They could probably stand up, but my team was like, Coach, you cannot wash them. You can't do it. So it was the same socks, the same shoes, the same everything, right? Not everything. So we get to the state tournament and we're going through the winner's bracket and we get back on the bus one day and the bus driver said, "What is that smell?" And they start laughing and I was like, "It's probably my socks." And he looked at me and he said, "Coach, those are going to have to go under the bus." So they went under the bus. After we won the state championship, I threw them away in the trash can at the state championship. But we have little things the entire time where you sit on the bucket, who sat where, how you go in line. Like there's so many things.
Yeah.
It's the same way every single day.
Yeah. No, I think that's so funny that the way different sports work, but a lot of them are superstitious, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
even how you wear your hair.
yeah, absolutely. But softball and baseball are probably the worst.
Yes,
right?
I agree. Yes, completely.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Well, let's look ahead a little bit. And you have this historic season that's in the books now, right? What's next for Johnson softball?
Yeah. So the College World Series, I think that's what's next. I think giving us, us earning the opportunity to go play at the first round of nationals. We were 2 runs each game away from being, going further. But I talked to my team before we went and I told them, we have nothing to prove. Nobody knows who we are. So let's go in there and be loose, just like we were at the conference tournament. Let's go have some fun, And I think that's easier said than done because they had never been there. Even though I hadn't either, I was still trying to minimize that shock value of being at the first round. Well, then we go, it rains all the way up to the point where we can't even take pregame on the field. We didn't get to practice the day before on the field. Our entire, and this goes back to superstition, our entire pregame routine was completely off because of the accommodations we had to make from the rain. And we did well. I just think they were so tight. So I think now that they've been there and done it, I think we're going to see a better outcome this next year.
Yeah. Well, it's also different. I think, you went into this year, and at least in the conference standings, and you were chasing. Yeah. Right? I mean, you're chasing Reinhardt and Tennessee Wesleyan and wanting to kind of knock those guys off and from where they are. But now, a little bit reversed, right? So there's a big difference between chasing and being chased.
Oh, yes.
Right? So that how do you want to go about flipping that mentality with players?
Well, I think it's how we approach it. Our kids are obviously going to take on our personality and our views. So I think that if they understand that we are the chase, that's a privilege, right?
Yeah.
And that they have to understand that. But if they can take on the attitude that it doesn't matter who the other team is in the dugout, we have to play our game. And if we're prepared and we know what we want to do, we stick to that. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side. Now, of course, you get excited about certain opponents or certain games. The Reinhardt game in the conference tournament by far was the best game of the season. It went 9 innings. Just an unbelievable performance by our girls. But I think that, it really depends on how we react and what our outlook is, and they kind of take it on.
Yeah, well, that's great. What excites you about players that you have returning and also in this incoming class that you've got this year?
We are incredibly excited about this class and our returners. Now, the great thing is we have an unbelievable class coming in. The sad thing is this senior class is our first recruiting class. So it's going to be a very sentimental year.
Yeah.
So I hope it goes out on a really good note. But I think what we realized last year is why we have the big class coming in this year. Was just a lack of depth last year. It got us at the end of the season, at the end of the regular season, because we had some injuries. So we had a hard time filling in those spots. This class coming in will give us that depth to not stress about that so much, but also give some people some time off to take care of injuries.
Yeah,
So.
No, that's good. That's really good. Well, tell me about maybe a goal that you have for the 25 season that's not wins, but from a developmental standpoint. Is there things that you've thought about like, oh, man, we want to work on this?
That's a good question. I think that when you have a senior class that has done so much and literally think about what they've done for this program, and then you have a younger class coming in, I think it's just making the two parts become one and continue that family-like feel. So as far as goals, put softball aside, I think it's just, becoming a solid family for us.
Yeah.
Because there are so many different parts, and there is a big gap between the senior class and the freshman class.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, we're going to wrap up.
Okay.
Rapid fire. Just
All
a
right.
handful of questions.
Okay.
Just real quick off the top of your head, all right? Favorite post-game meal?
Texas Roadhouse.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome.
Their rolls.
Those
Oh,
rolls.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Player who made you laugh the most this season?
Megan Armstrong. That girl, she's not only funny, she's a serious funny. Like,
Yeah. She is a really good trash talker.
she is. She has developed every person's nicknames in our program. Like,
Yeah.
they have a nickname.
I
and it's
always,
because of Megan.
I always loved when Megan came up on deck because I would try to find ways to get her fired up when I'm
is so
standing right
funny.
there when I was working.
And what's
games.
best about it, she doesn't even laugh.
Yeah.
She just says it.
Yeah, no,
She's witty.
it's really good. So, who was the biggest surprise for you this year?
So shockingly, it was Bones.
Okay.
Sloan.
Sloan Baldridge.
Sloan
for those who
Baldridge,
don't know who Bones is.
Yeah. Bones. So always knew she could play defense. Her offense came alive this year. She ended up being instrumental in our program this year. She was huge.
Yeah. The game you love most outside of the championship game, that one doesn't
Yeah,
count.
no, Reinhardt. It was
Okay.
the Reinhardt game.
In the tournament.
In the tournament. Yeah. We knew what we were up against because they had already solidified their spot in the national tournament.
Yeah.
We knew we had to go through them to get there. So the fact that it went 9 innings, we got behind right off the bat and fought back the whole time. That was it.
Yeah. What about a game you wish you could just bring back and play it again? Maybe it got away from you.
Yeah, so I'd say the second Milligan game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah.
Because we run-rolled them the first game. We got up on them the second game and just kind of sat back and, yeah.
Yeah. I think when I ask that question to most coaches, it's going to be a Milligan game
Yeah.
to some degree. That is our biggest rival for
Yeah.
sure. The sister school where I graduated
Yeah.
from, so it is the one that it's like, oh, I'd love to have that
Yep.
one when they get
That's the
away.
one.
So yeah, it makes sense. Your favorite sports movie?
For the love of the game.
Okay. All right.
Kevin Costner
Kevin
talks
Costner,
about,
yeah.
it's just a lot of sports psychology, and I love
Yeah,
that.
that's good. That's good. When I wrote this question originally, this section came from ChatGPT. I won't lie, but it said favorite softball movie. Is there a softball movie out there? I could not think of a softball sports movie.
I think Sandlot did make a softball movie,
Like
but
later on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Still
I was
love
just curious.
no, I do love
'cause,
Sandlot. That's a good one.
I'd never seen one. So I was like,
Yeah.
does that even exist? Maybe
Yeah.
we should write one.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. One word that describes the Royal softball culture.
Family.
Love it. What does being a Royal mean to you?
Oh, it means a ton. I think just being here for the 4 years, like to me, it's family, it's support, it's growth, it's learning everything. So, I mean, it's funny. I have people ask me like, "Will you go anywhere?" No, I love this place.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what Royal means to me.
So, any final message? You have this platform right now, talking to fans, students, Royal supporters. Like, do you have any final message or a final thought?
I would say just look at, I know you touched on it before, but look at what all of our athletic programs are doing. It's just an unbelievable time to be a part of this.
Yeah.
We're building something really special.
Yeah. No, we absolutely are. And I think adding to it, not only is it something special, it's something you get to be a part of at the very beginning,
Yeah.
right? And you need to come watch the game,
Yeah.
right?
It's fun.
I will say, one of the things that caught me off guard, being the AD here, was how much fun softball games are.
Yeah.
They
They're
really
fast
are.
and fun.
They're so fast,
Yeah.
and that I was not expecting. I don't think I'd watched many softball games before we launched this program.
Yeah.
But it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So, Coach Carter, thank you.
You're welcome.
Glad to have you here. It was loads of fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Royal Insider. Man, what a great interview with Coach Dayna Carter. So excited that she was on the show today and being able to talk with us for a while. We're moving into our final segment. Now, as the weeks progress, this is going to look at very, very different. The plan for this segment is to tell you what's coming up next so that you know, like, here are the games I need to get out and watch, or I need to pay attention to, or check out on one of our live stream options. However, it's summer, so there's not games next week. Right now, we are focusing on getting our move-in date, which is August 3rd for volleyball and for both of our soccer teams. We're excited also about the launch of our soccer program. For those who don't know, I think I mentioned this at the very beginning, but getting this turf installed, really a completely, almost like a new feel for our soccer field is going to be a tremendous thing for us, and we can't wait to get that done. Really, let's talk about next week's show. We've got Dave Serrano coming on, our head baseball coach. He's going to come on and talk about the baseball team's run to the national tournament as well, and also being the first program in Johnson history to finish in the top 25 in the NAIA poll. That'll pretty much do it for the Royal Insider. Again, thank you so much for being here for this first edition of this program, and we hope to see you back here next week.